Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So I made a video recently about ZDogg, how carbs kill, and I knew then that there was going to be a part 2, which I'm making now, because he just had so much incredible stuff in his video about carbs that I couldn't cover it all in a single video. So anyway, I'm going to focus this time on what he eats in an actual day. Yeah, you guys are going to laugh. It's a complete joke, and just other crazy stuff he said. And if you don't know who ZDogg is, he's well loved by the vegan community because he made a response video to the film What the Health, and he just said a load of BS, a bunch of stuff that's not scientific. And by the way, he's a medical doctor that goes by the name ZDogg. Well, anyway, he has a long form kind of podcast video show, and here he is with his show producers, and let's see what they're saying here.
Fat adapted. You're not adapted to burn fat yet by producing ketones, so you have nothing. So you just crash. You got to eat right away.
I think most people intuitively get this, or at least if they're people that suffer with it like we do, carb intolerance.
Really, of the 3 major macronutrients, all 3 of you guys are unable to process carbohydrates. I've never heard of such a illness, and I've been a high carb vegan since 2012, so I probably would have heard. Carb intolerance sounds like gluten intolerance. Is this some new crazy trend? Well, I looked online, and there was only like one legit looking website that even mentioned carbohydrate intolerance. And if you dig in and actually see what it says, they're talking about being lactose intolerant. Yeah, which the majority of humans on this planet are. We weren't designed to drink bovine milk for the rest of our lives. Well, if you look at the non-legit sites that talk about carb intolerance, they're not even medical doctors. Here you have a functional doctor, and he has this quiz you can take. And if you have cravings for like beans or potatoes, you're probably carb intolerant. I don't think that's actual science.
How do we eat in our current world? Here's a simple way to think about it. There's just a few simple premises, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything radical.
Really? We'll see how non-radical you really are, ZDogg.
I don't eat breakfast.
No breakfast? That's pretty radical, bro.
I have a very small lunch that's mostly nuts and things with high fiber, an avocado. I don't eat any carbs at lunch because then I might get hungry.
Well, first of all, what's wrong with getting hungry? It's just what happens to the body naturally when it needs to eat food. Just eat healthy food when you're hungry. But this whole thing, how he says he gets no carbs, he eats no carbs for lunch, well, that's a complete joke, and it shows you what's wrong with his reductionistic way of thinking, trying to reduce all foods into a certain macronutrient. Well, and when reality shows that pretty much all foods have all 3 of the major macronutrients. Well, I punched into Cronometer, his lunch here. He says he likes macadamia nuts, so I put in an FDA serving of macadamia nuts and an entire avocado. Weird lunch. I'm not going to criticize that right now, but he's getting over 13% of his calories from carbs. Yet he says,
I don't eat any carbs at lunch. And then dinner, I have a rational dinner. Brown rice. Tonight I had a chicken with an avocado, some brown rice, and some baked kale. And that was perfect. And right now, and I followed up with berries. So raspberries, blueberries, blackberries with some almonds sprinkled on top.
So for his dinner, I entered in a FDA serving size of brown rice, another avocado, and didn't say what kind of chicken. I just thought 2 chicken drumsticks seems like a decent serving for his rational sizes, and an FDA serving of kale, and then an FDA serving of raspberries, and a half a cup of blueberries and blackberries, and finally a tablespoon of raw almonds. So that's all ZDogg, a grown man, ate in an entire day. Doesn't seem like a lot of food. And if you add it all up in Cronometer, it's not. It's a little under 1,300 calories. Well, yeah, he fasted all night, skipped breakfast, had a small lunch and this rational dinner. Let's say he ate an extra drumstick. He'd still be around 1,400 calories. Either way, that's not a lot of food for a grown man. He is a classic calorie restrictor, which is probably why he's lean and his 2 podcast producers are not. I doubt they're starving themselves like he is, even though he doesn't think he's starving himself. Well, a grown man eating 1,400 calories a day, well, let's look at what he's deficient in. First of all, he's deficient in calories, where the RDA for an average person is at least 2,000 calories, and I think that's way too low myself. And if you're not eating a lot of calories, you're not eating a lot of food, that means you're not getting other nutrients that are in food. Like, look here, he's low in calcium, he's low in iron, low in potassium, low in zinc. And again, it's because he's simply not eating enough food to bring in all these vitamins and minerals.
And I'll tell you why I do this. So the fasting during the day means that I'm literally, when I go to bed till the time I have lunch, I haven't eaten anything. So that could be 16, 18 hours, right? In that time, my body starts to burn fat and produce ketones.
There we go, ketogenic diet.
And I'm able to function on that in a way that I don't get hungry.
He makes it sound like getting hungry is like a bad thing. You should have guilt that you're hungry. Like, I don't get it. Just eat some good food, ZDogg. What the hell? Anyway, let's see how he reacts here to a situation when he splurges on a few more carbs than he should have.
We go out to eat, we'll have sushi with rice, we'll have those things, but then the next day maybe I will skip breakfast and I might even skip lunch. I may just have a couple of nuts and I'm good.
I don't know, I'm not a trained doctor, but I'm going to throw the O word out there. This sounds a lot to me like orthorexia. Oh, you ate a little too much rice. Oh my God, I have to fast the next morning and just have an even smaller lunch. Come on, eat some freaking carbs, bro. Eat some rice. It's good for you. It's not going to kill you. Why are you so deathly afraid of carbohydrates, whole food carbs?
The fact that excess carbohydrates can lead to an insulin resistant state where insulin promotes other types of inflammation that are bad in terms of heart vessel, so cardiogenic, triglycerides circulating, cardiogenic problems like atherosclerosis, heart disease, etc.
No, bro, I covered that in my last video, how a high carb vegan diet, low in fat, no oil, is the only diet in the world that's been able to reverse heart disease. I kind of feel bad even mentioning this. I don't want to make this too personal, but I can't help but notice, and most of our viewers commented about this too, about the big black lines under both of ZDogg's eyes. And I point this out because I've seen this very often, not in vegans, not in people eating a bunch of carbs. I see this often in people following low carb, high fat, Atkins ketogenic style diets like ZDogg's.
You know, I have a real problem with the low carb thing just from, I'm doing it right now, but I have a problem with it from the standpoint of like, I just miss things like a burger and fries. I miss things that have emotional resonance for me, and there's no foods like that. And I get really sick of just eating meat and vegetables.
This comment from ZDogg's producer there really highlights a huge issue here, in that people really don't understand what carbs are. They believe they should avoid them, but they don't even know what they're avoiding. McDonald's. This, go to Cronometer again, put in a Big Mac and an order of fries. This is not a high carb meal. I don't know where people get that. If you're on a low carb diet, you can't go to McDonald's. No, it's a high fat meal. About 40% of the calories come from carbs. So if you're afraid of carbs, McDonald's is cool. It's a high fat meal. It's safe in that regard, but it's still full of saturated fat and cholesterol. However, ZDogg thinks those are cool for you.
The standard American diet for years, it's been pushed on us by government and by thought leaders and by public health people that saturated fats are bad, that low fat diets are better.
Really? So the reason why heart disease is the #1 cause of death now is because people are eating too many whole food plants. All that rice and potatoes and legumes and bananas that we're consuming, that's killing us. Saturated fat and cholesterol, eat as much as you want. My God, I hope you don't have too many people listening to you.
Joe wants to know how you feel about plant-based diets.
Many Indian men in particular, and women as well, die on a vegetarian diet. They die like dogs in their 30s and their 40s of heart disease. Why? Because they are exactly the type of people that are not tolerating the high carbohydrate load in many vegetarian diets.
And here ZDogg is just flat out lying, trying to represent his flawed opinion as some kind of scientific fact. Well, the truth is that researchers have found that Indian people have 4 times more on average a genetic mutation that leads to their heart problems. It has nothing to do with some kind of carb overload. So post your questions and comments down below. What do you think of ZDogg's fasting through most of the day, eating a paltry 1,300 calories a day? And what do you think of its results? You know, remember, he's about 10 years younger than me, looking at when he got his undergraduate degree. So what do you think of all the black lines he's got down there, which I don't have? I should have some really bad stuff, eating all these horrible carbs, huh? What do you think of ketogenic breath? Do you have any friends that have funky, horrible keto breath? You know what I'm talking about. So post down below what you think. Hit like if you got something out of this video, if you like me doing these expose type videos, and subscribe if you're new. So until next time, please, ZDogg, listen to me. Keep it carb, baby. Keep it carb.